Marvel Snap has now been out for 1 month. In this video, I'm going to go through where we're at with the game, how popular it is, and where I see the game heading in the future. What's going to change about it, and what do we have to look forward to? So let's start with popularity. In order to assess popularity, we can look at several different areas. We can look at viewership on websites like Twitch and YouTube. We can look at the communities built on websites like Reddit and apps like Discord. And we can scrounge the internet to see if there's any sort of indication in player numbers. What accolades does the game have on the iOS App Store and the Google Play Store? These are all hints at how successful the game has been too. So let's start with viewership. Now, a lot of people's first port of call when it comes to how popular a game is Twitch. Worth pointing out, it's currently 3 p.m. on a Tuesday afternoon here in the UK. Not exactly going to be peak time, but then again, it's also not exactly going to be peak time for all of these other games that are appearing in the Twitch directory. And it sits currently at 4,300. And to be honest, this seems to be roughly where it is every time I check how many viewers Marvel Snap currently has on Twitch. So it falls in line with Final Fantasy XIV right now, Destiny 2, Hunt Showdown. These are some pretty popular live service games that have really stood the test of time. So, I guess when you compare it to games like this, Civ 6, not so bad. But what concerns me is that it's lower than Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel. It's pretty similar to Master Duel. Probably not much of a comparison that can be drawn there. But it is drastically lower than Poker. And more to the point, it's way, way lower than Hearthstone, which is sitting on like 8 times the viewership. It's not that surprising, honestly. Hearthstone has been around for a long time. It really has stood the test of time. There's several game modes. You've got Battlegrounds, you've got Constructed, you've got Duels, you've got Mercenary, you've got Arena, you've got Tavern Brawls. There really is a lot of content in Hearthstone, and I think Blizzard have done a really good job at just keeping this game going by any cost. It's something that Blizzard are particularly good at. I think that's where Marvel Snap are going to want to be competing over time. That being said, Twitch might not be the best metric to look at when it comes to Marvel Snap's popularity, and I will explain why. Mobile games tend to be bigger on YouTube than they are on Twitch. There's a whole bunch of reasons for that, but when you look at Supercell games and generally like games that are exclusively mobile oriented, they tend to be a lot bigger on YouTube. They tend to attract a much younger audience. Younger audiences tend to be drawn to YouTube more than they are to Twitch. A lot of the time, Twitch seems to be a bit of a boom platform. So I think it makes more sense to look at Marvel Snap on YouTube. So if I search Marvel Snap, and I filter by view count, obviously you got like the official Marvel stuff, and you got like Thanos Snap. That's not quite what we're looking for. There's a lot of sponsored Marvel Snap videos and streams, so it's difficult to know whether or not to count that. Like Disguised Toast is a huge creator. Obviously this has 300,000 views, which is amazing, but it's sponsored. Like I don't know if content like this is gonna keep being released. Stuff by the channel themselves, more sponsored stuff. But if we go a little bit further down, there's loads of content from creators like Cozy, like Alexander Casilla, I hope I said his name correctly, Mega Mogwai, Huglan Marvel Snap. Wait, Angry Joe did a video on Snap? I need to watch that at some point. There's a lot of content from creators who are clearly here to stay. Hugland, Mega Mogwai, these creators have been really pushing hard Marvel Snap content. TLSG, Teddy Ninja, and it just keeps going. And already within the first month, there are so many videos with tens and tens of thousands of views, which is a fantastic start for any game on YouTube. Again, the best thing to do is to compare it to other mobile games. So if I compare Marvel Snap with Marvel Strike Force and see what comes up, if I do the same thing, filter by view count, skip the first load, the ones made by the devs and that kind of thing, it tells a pretty similar story. And Marvel Strike Force has been around for a long time. If anything, it feels like the viewer counts are getting lower on Marvel Strike Force faster than they were on Snap. So from this, we can see that Marvel Snap's launch content-wise, at least on YouTube, has been a huge success. Twitch, maybe not so much. It's pretty clear that they've put a lot of money into sponsorships on Twitch. Like, there were a lot of big streamers streaming Marvel Snap. Dance Game, Sips, Lyric. Pretty sure I saw that Shroud was streaming it at some point. Like, it felt like they got everyone in the first few weeks. So it is a shame that that didn't turn into a big success on Twitch just yet. However, I don't think it was ever going to be a huge thing on Twitch. I think when it comes to content, YouTube is king when it comes to mobile games. And I think that Marvel Snap has absolutely been killing it on YouTube. Hey, that's mine. When it comes to online content and popularity, yeah, I'd say Marvel Snap has been a huge hit. Let's look at communities. This one's not going to take quite as long. We're going to go to Reddit and we're going to take a look. There seem to be 65,216 members of the Marvel Snap subreddit. 2,000 currently online. Again, we're talking 3 p.m. on a Tuesday. UK time, so most Americans are still asleep at this point. If I compare it to, let's compare it to Marvel Strike Force again. Marvel Strike Force has 100,000, again Snap has 65,000, with 500 currently online versus 2,000 currently online. So yeah, I mean, we're talking about a game that's only a month old. It is going to have a lot of invested people that are logging in regularly. That number will probably go down over time, but hopefully this number will go up over time. And I think that the conclusion we can draw here is that on Reddit, at least Marvel Snap's had a pretty good start. What about comparing it to Hearthstone? Okay, so the Hearthstone subreddit is definitely more popular than the Marvel Snap one, with almost 2 million members, with 3,600 currently online. So, I mean, when you look at it as a percentage, that's a lot more members and only a few more online. But the takeaway I get from this is that there are currently more people invested into Hearthstone than there are into Marvel Snap. I think Hearthstone have got a new expansion just about to come out. I haven't really been keeping up with it recently. So none of these comparisons are particularly fair, but it's cool to look at this just to see how they compare and see if we can draw anything from it. I don't know if I'm being really dense here, but I cannot find how many members there are in this Discord server, but there's definitely a lot. I'm sure I saw a tweet somewhere about how the official Marvel Snap Discord channel is like huge and bigger than one of the biggest fan-made Hearthstone ones or something. So what I will say is if you look at the discussion here on the official Marvel Snap Discord server, like it's constantly moving. I've never been to this channel and not seen it moving all of the time. That's just general. If you look at competitive, last message was posted. Oh, now someone's typing it now. Player advice. Last message was posted this minute. Deck building. Last message was posted this minute. Like this is a poppin' popular server. No wonder really the devs are in here. There's Ask the Team section of the server. It's a really nice community that clearly they've put a lot of effort into. But yeah, again, community-wise, I would say Marvel Snap is doing really, really well. Finally, let's talk about game numbers, player numbers. If I Google Marvel Snap App Store, maybe if I click news, 4 reasons why Marvel Snap is a massive hit. App Store charts, just a few days following the launch, top charts on both the Google Play Store and the App Store. According to a report by mobilegamer.biz, the app received over 5.3 million downloads in its first week and earned over $2 million. Wow, for a game that is free to play and only really pushes monetization via cosmetics. Yes, obviously you can pay to complete your collection faster, but you can't do what you can do in the other card games, which is just buy the whole collection outright. Like you can literally pay to get a little bit more progress every day, and that's it. There really is no pressure to spend money, and with that in mind, $2 million for the first week, that is not that bad at all. Marvel Snap themselves tweeted, "We're number 1 on the App Store and the Google Play Store." We see a bit of a biased message there, but remember, this is just the beginning. I really love the team at Marvel Snap's enthusiasm here. They've shown time and time again that they really do care about being around for the long run, and they really care about Marvel Snap not being just this 2-minute moment and then disappearing into obscurity. Like, they really care about Marvel Snap being a big deal, which is why things like Nexus events, which thankfully a lot of you guys will never even have to know about, just aren't going to happen again. Like, they've made mistakes, they've learned from the mistakes, and they're not going to repeat the mistakes. I don't think it really matters for how long this was the number 1 game on the App Store and the Google Play Store. The fact that it was, even to begin with, is huge. And if I look at my phone now, if I go onto the App Store, and if I tap games, Marvel Snap is right at the top of Apple's What We Are Playing, which can only be a good thing. So a big dub by all metrics, but that leads me to the next part of this video. I want to talk about where Marvel Snap goes next, because now things have sort of hit their new equilibrium, I suppose you could say. A lot of the players have been making their way through their collection level, and we're at the point now where many players have hit pool 3. They're starting to get into that last group of cards. Now, it will take them a few months to complete the whole of pool 3. It's not a short grind like pool 1 and pool 2. Players are going to be building out their collections now for months. But then what? As it stands, there's no real endgame in Marvel Snap, which is fine because other than players like myself that have been playing long before the game officially launched, no one's at the endgame anyway, mostly. I've talked before about the leaderboard problem, about the ranking problem in Marvel Snap, which is that once you get to Infinite, there's nothing to do. You sort of just play for cubes that ultimately mean nothing. At some point, the team at Second Dinner are going to be adding a leaderboard system so you can compete with the best of the best and see who is currently the best ranked player in the world. That on its own, even without any rewards or any extra motivation, that will do wonders to help the longevity of the game. I cannot wait for a leaderboard system because I'm telling you, people are going to get competitive, and viewers on both Twitch and YouTube are going to love watching that competition. They're going to be able to see who the best players in the world are, and they're going to be able to learn from the best, knowing that they're the best and not just random content creators who are saying that they're good. And they're going to be able to copy the best player in the world's decks and use them themselves. This is the economy of the future of Marvel Snap. It's going to be awesome. So in my opinion, endgame when it comes to cubes, Marvel Snap just need to add the leaderboards, and then the competitive community is going to run itself, and it's going to be great. Nothing much needs to change there. However, talking about the meta now and card collection, we don't really know what's next when it comes to card collection. Once you complete your entire collection and you finish collecting all of the cards in pool 3, which happens at around collection level 3000, again, it's different for everyone, but around collection level 3000, all you can collect from reserves are boosters, titles, gold, and card variant. Now, the boosters are going to be replaced by collector's tokens, which are great. They're the things that are going to allow you to choose the card that you want rather than just having to wait and hope that you get it. But when you've completed the collection tokens don't really do anything for you, right? Wrong. I'm pretty sure that Second Dinner are going to add Pool 4 into Marvel Snap probably in around 2 months' time. The reason for that is I believe that they're going to want to do that as players start to finish their collections. Second Dinner's philosophy in Marvel Snap has been so crystal clear. They want everyone to have different collections. They want your collections to build and change and be different from the other players, so that everyone gets a different experience and so that you can't just net deck. Building your own deck using the cards that you've gathered that are different to everyone else's is a core part of Marvel Snap, and I'm sure Second Dinner are going to want to push that fantasy to its limit. I'm not going to go into the leaks myself. You can see so many other YouTube videos about those, but a lot of cards have already been leaked. And I mean a lot of cards. There are cards that have been made that just aren't in the game yet. And I'm not talking about Thanos and Galactus, which sort of are in the game, but also sort of not in the game. I'm talking about loads of cards that it's not possible to get, but they've been made. And I'm sure that this is a pool 4 dump of cards waiting to happen once players are starting to get to that point where they're ready for more cards. And I think if we do get regular dumps of cards like that, maybe every 3 or 4 months, just a whole bunch more cards added to the game, that's going to do so many cool things for the longevity of Marvel Snap. As players that get used to that drip feed of slow content, 1 card every few days or something, if they can just have that forever, I think they'll stick around. Marvel Snap are going to have a problem eventually where all of the popular superheroes have been used up and they're going to run out of new heroes to add in. I'm not saying that they'll run out of heroes to add in entirely. That's ridiculous. There are so many characters in Marvel lore, especially when you look at the secondary characters and the tertiary characters and the multiple villains and all of that kind of thing. But they're going to run out of popular characters. You can only add Iron Man into the game once, and then it's in the game. And they've sort of cut their legs out by preventing themselves from being able to add new versions of these cards that are different. So you know how Hearthstone has Ragnaros and Ragnaros Firelord and Ragnaros Lightlord and different versions of hero cards that do different things. Well, Marvel Snap can't do that because variants are in the game, and variants are just copies that do the same thing of the original card. So they can't have Iron Man the Fury that does something different. That's a really bad example. So I'm a little bit unsure about how they're going to keep a feed of popular characters coming. I suppose that sort of relies on the MCU and the films continuing to be popular, because if the films continue to be popular, you know, and there's 3 or 4 films a year plus sort of the series and everything, if they're popular enough where Marvel Snap can leech off of that and take these popular characters and put them into the game to make the game as appealing as possible, then that could be fine. As things currently stand, I do worry that they're not going to be able to keep adding fan favorite characters into the game forever. You know, you can only add Thanos into the game once. You can only add Loki into the game once. Once he's in, he's in. As far as monetization goes, I don't think that people are going to want to buy the monthly season pass forever. The most dedicated players might, but like that is going to get expensive real fast. You know, you're talking over £100 a year just to keep up with the game. And that's fine if you're able to get a good chunk of stuff without feeling like you need to spend any other money. But like for casual fans, that is expensive, and I don't think people are going to maintain it. Then again, to turn that around, that is cheaper than how much it costs to keep up with the game of Hearthstone every year with 3 major expansions and then mini sets and whatever. So maybe I'm wrong and people will just keep up with a season pass. Presumably variants will continue to be printed and added into the game. I swore at first that I wouldn't buy variants from the shop, but I've been buying them recently. In fact, I have a daily Smash or Pass series where I decide whether I'm buying or not buying the variants from the shop. You can check those out on my channel, they're YouTube shorts. But variants are awesome. I've been playing this game for months and months now, and I'm still seeing new variants all of the time that I've never seen before. And what I particularly love about the variants is that the logo at the bottom is identical, so you're still never looking at a card and struggling to tell what it is because you're never looking at a card and struggling to tell what it is because you don't recognize the art on it. Of course, in a card game, it's not as simple as, oh, just read the text, because, you know, your eyes grow accustomed to things, and typically you can recognize something instantly faster based on the image than based on the text. Well, the fact that the text is an image and it's extremely recognizable means that I've never once glanced at a card and not known what the card was, even though I'd never seen the art for it before. And I think that's a really good design. What I'm saying is that if the variants had different logos on, I think that would be a problem, and the team have been really smart in not doing that. For now, I just see Marvel Snap going from strength to strength. When they do eventually announce their first big drop of extra cards, I think that's going to be huge and exciting for all of the players. I wonder how it's going to work if we do end up with a pool 5 and a pool 6, where new players that are still onboarding over time, they're going to look at the brand new cards and be like, oh, well, I'm not even going to start to get those cards until I've been playing the game for 6 months, so what's the point? I wonder if Marvel Snap are going to do something to add a sort of catch-up mechanic. Or maybe the collector tokens will work that way, where even if you're only collecting cards in pool 1, you can save up collector tokens and buy a pool 6 card. Maybe that'll be fine. It's just impossible to predict these things just yet. But for now, the game is great. People love it. People all over the world are playing it. I have friends that aren't particularly that interested in card games that just keep announcing to me, oh yeah, I've been playing Marvel Snap. And I think that the game is just giving everyone this warm, fuzzy, fun feeling at the moment. Marvel's awesome, Marvel Snap is awesome, the game is awesome, and I hope that we all just keep enjoying it as much as we have been. I also want to talk about esports, because this game has like crazy potential for esports. Battle mode is coming. For those of you that don't know what battle mode is, it's the ability to play against friends. And the way they're implementing the snap mechanic, which is beautiful by the way, is instead of competing for cubes as you do in normal play, you and your opponent have 10 HP each, and when you snap, you double the amount of HP you're taking off of your opponent in the game. You keep playing against each other until one of your HPs drops to 0. It's exactly the same as playing for cubes, but instead you're playing to take health off of your opponent. It is beautiful, and tournaments are going to love this. I don't know what the accepted tournament format is going to be in Marvel Snap, whether it's that you just get one deck and you're playing for HP, or whether you get to choose between 3 decks and you can rotate between those 3 decks however you like, or what. I don't know how it's going to work, but I'm loving everything about it already. Whether or not Second Dinner want to build Marvel Snap into this huge esports with crazy prize pools and all of that stuff, I do not know, but at the very least, it's going to be huge for content, and I think that your favorite Marvel Snap content creators are really going to enjoy getting stuck in and competing with each other. The other thing I want to do is go through the roadmap real quick to see if there's anything else we've got to look forward to. And honestly, like, they've been smashing it and delivering this stuff really quickly. Global mobile launch is done, PC early access is in. Localization, I wouldn't know, but I assume that that's the thing. We've had a welcome bundle, we've got rewards, we've got an inbox system, variant rarity systems out, so the coming soon is done. And if that's any indication of how quickly the pace is that they're going to be releasing new stuff, that's a good sign. In development, unranked mode and battle mode versus friends is still not in yet, nor are collector tokens. But I have to assume that this stuff is all coming really soon. I would guess collector tokens are going to come with Pool 4, but that is just a guess though. PC widescreen UI is a bit of a mystery. I'm sure I read somewhere that that's something they're planning to have available by the middle of next year. So I find it slightly concerning that that's where we're at within development, but that seems to be a bit of an outlier because everything else seems like it's going to be coming pretty fast. Especially as titles, the bottom part of in development is already in the game. Granted, I don't think it's that well implemented. You only get to see the title for like a second when you're first seeing your opponent's name. I think they could do a little more with titles, but it's in the game and that's a start. Finally, let's look at in concept. We've got the new competitive modes, guilds and social systems, in-game events, infinity rank leaderboard, collectible emotes, card emojis, mythic variants. Okay, none of this stuff is in the game yet at all. And I expect that we'll get an update about this somewhat soon. Second In have been very open with their communication. I just don't know what new competitive modes means. Does that mean like Marvel Snap's equivalent to Hearthstone's Arena or Battlegrounds? Because if so, that would be freaking awesome. Frankly, personally, I don't really care about guilds and social systems too much. I think people generally use Discord and Reddit, etc., and Twitch as their social system and their community now, rather than in-game things. But then again, mobile games can be really big when it comes to social systems, and I think especially for a younger audience, that can be quite appealing. In-game events, they've tried, not done too good a job with that, so I guess watch this space. And everything else, sure, it's in concept, they're going to talk about it at some point, hopefully it'll be out within the next year or two. But generally, a lot to look forward to in Marvel Snap. I'm excited. If you want to learn more things about Marvel Snap, check out this video, I'm sure it'll help you. Thanks for watching, I'll see you in the next one.